Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's such a lovely sound to hear the buzz here so early on a Thursday morning. I know a lot of you here was also at the breakfast briefing, or rather a portion of you were at the breakfast briefing this morning at Google, so thank you again for coming so early on a Thursday morning. And to those joining us virtually from across the world as well, thank you for joining us here. A very warm welcome to the 2023 edition of Unlocking Capital for Sustainability, Enabling an Equitable Transition. I'm Megan C., Director of Partnerships at EcoBusiness, and it's my pleasure to be your host this morning. Unlocking Capital for Sustainability, now in its 6th year, is the region's premier event that brings together high-level decision makers in finance, business, government, and civic society. Organized by EcoBusiness in partnership with United Nations Environment Programme Finance Initiative, this forum is the largest gathering of decision makers in the Asia-Pacific region to discuss and commit to actionable initiatives that mobilize the capital markets for sustainable development. We're delighted to be hosting all of you here in person this morning at the Park Royal Collection here at Marina Bay, and globally live streaming this to more than 1,300 delegates around the world in a hybrid format. Please do engage with us in our discussions by taking part in our polls, chat boxes, and interactive Q&A via Slido, and also our event app, which you should have already downloaded upon registration of this event. This is where you can network, watch the live stream, get more information on the plenary sessions happening today, and also pose your questions to our speakers for each of these sessions. If you haven't already downloaded the app, please do so right now. There's free Wi-Fi in this space, I think. For those who have joined us in person, please do flash your phone on the QR codes on your badge to let us know how you commuted here as well, as this is part of our Scope 3 reporting, which we've embarked on for all our events. We're also very proud to say that we recently attained our B Corp certification, and it reflects our corporate purpose and efforts on sustainability disclosure, even though we are not subjected to it. Our hashtags for today are Unlocking Capital and UCFS 2023, and do tag EcoBusiness and UNEP FI as well. Before we kick off the event today, I'd like to thank all our partners without whom this event would not have been possible. I'll just step aside. So this year's edition, produced in partnership with the United Nations Environment Programme Finance Initiative, is also brought to you by our strategic partners, our strategic technology partner Google, as well as BDO Unibank, UOB, and RGE. Also special thanks to our supporting partners, OCBC, SM Investments, and Pollination. And to all our outreach partners, knowledge partners that you see in the bottom row. For now, please sit back and enjoy the Unlocking Capital for Sustainability 2023 video, which we have prepared especially for you. all of you enjoyed that video, which sets us up really nicely for today's discussion. I'm very delighted now to introduce to you EcoBusiness's Executive Director, Junice Yeo, who has joined us here all the way from Beijing to give the opening remarks. Junice, please.
Testing. All right. Wow, this is really high. I wish I was taller. Okay. Very good morning to all of you. And thank you so much for attending today. I see a lot of people are at the back. Please bear with us. We do have seats in front for some of the, and they're saved actually for the afternoon VIP. So if you'd like to just take a seat for a while, I think you might be able to find a slot here and there. Okay. All right. Allow me to begin. Mr. Desmond Quek, CEO of Temasek Trust, Mr. Bae Soo Kyang, Vice Chairman RGE, Mr. Ben King, Managing Director of Google Singapore Asia Pacific, Mr. Eric Lim, Chief Sustainability Officer, UOB, Attorney Federico Tancongo, Senior Vice President and Chief Compliance Officer at BDO Unibank. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you and welcome to the 6th edition of Unlocking Capital for Sustainability 2023. It is my pleasure to be greeting all of you as Executive Director of EcoBusiness. Normally, on such occasions, you will be greeted by the founder and Managing Director, Jessica Cham. But given that I'm normally in Beijing and finally able to be present here to support this event live, we decided to give Jessica a break. But rest assured that you will hear more from her today. This event, this year's event, as with previous years, is one that brings together the region's business and government leaders on the topic of mobilizing climate finance for sustainable development. What has changed, of course, is the urgency. For consecutive years now, the reports of hottest year on record have been ringing in our ears. 2 weeks ago, it was announced by the world's climate scientists that 6 out of 9 of our planetary boundaries have already been crossed. Now, this might just seem like another piece of climate science to remind us of what we already know. But actually, this one matters. Because in layman terms, it is akin to a person's blood pressure shooting off the charts, indicating that a heart attack may soon be imminent, and when it happens, it can no longer be reversed. The reality laid before us is that our trajectories show that we are way off from where our global average temperatures should be. And as daunting as that may be, let me share you some good news from Asia. Never before have we had so many regulators and central bankers come together to progress on policies and taxonomies. Never before has renewable energy investments been so mainstreamed. Never before have we had so many listed companies across, listed and non-listed companies across sectors actively measuring their carbon emissions with feasible plans of reducing them. Now, Rome wasn't built in a day, we know that, and looking at who's in the room today already gives us hope. Traction is finally happening, and finance is now becoming the linchpin to our industry's climate action. According to a report by the AIGCC, or the Asia Investor Group on Climate Change, the region's net zero transition would require between 26 trillion and 37 trillion US dollars over the next 30 years, depending on whether you're looking at a 2-degree scenario or a 1.5-degree scenario. But as many of us sitting in this room would point out, addressing climate isn't just about closing a financial gap. It is about the livelihoods, the future of us and our children, the safety and security of the roof above our heads, the fact that we in Asia can and want to continue to build a future where economic stability and prosperity can go hand in hand. So ensuring that this transition is an equitable one has become a strategic priority on the international agenda. This year, EcoBusiness decided it was time for us to focus on where we can make a material difference in the region. So over the past 4 weeks, we convened over 500 senior policy, business, and financial leaders across cities for ASEAN markets, especially through this summit. Perhaps it was thanks to the company's vision to boldly push for unlocking of funds for sustainability 6 years ago. I'm proud to say that unlocking capital for sustainability has now become a firm piece on the agenda, on the calendars across major Asian cities, and definitely more to come as well. So today's discussion is going to be about Asia's destiny. We need to know that the key mechanisms needed to truly scale capital for Asia's just transition is going to happen. It's not just about the frameworks, not just about the tools to fix climate and nature. It's about the insights from the folks on the ground on what has worked and what isn't working. In the afternoon, we will look at climate tech and discuss how this can potentially game change the investment landscape. A popular segment we've run for recent years was actually our debate segment. If you enjoyed this, well, good news for you. We are going to give this another run. And this time, we're going to focus on the complex but critical role of the carbon markets. And we also will be looking at the crucial SDG 17 partnerships between public, private, and philanthropy that is going to be critical in mobilizing urgent capital in the region. We also have with us the US Ambassador, His Excellency Jonathan Kaplan, who will be sharing a little bit more about the plans from the US in his closing remarks. So lots to chew on and plenty of fresh insights await us. So I won't stand in the way of us and our distinguished speakers any longer. But before I hand this over, allow me to thank the UN Environment Programme Finance Initiative, who have been our long-standing partner through the years. To the media who chose to support this event today by covering the event, thank you. There's a role for all of us to play in mainstreaming the conversation further, so your stories will no doubt be a needed piece in this puzzle. Thank you again as well to our partners, as you can see here on the screen, and of course, a special word of appreciation to all of you who took time off your busy schedules to make this summit come alive today. Now, let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice, for providing that very, I guess, hopeful opening remarks for us, and also setting the day's agenda very well. You can tell with a packed full agenda with all the interesting, exciting conversations happening. So please do stay around. There's coffee and tea outside for you to take whenever. But for now, I am now very thrilled to introduce our next speaker, Kate Brandt, Chief Sustainability Officer for Google, for the virtual opening keynote.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kate Brandt. I'm Google's Chief Sustainability Officer, and it's such an honor to join this very distinguished group of guests at today's Eco Business Forum to discuss enabling an equitable transition to a sustainable future. I grew up in a little beach town called Muir Beach in California, and I was so fortunate to spend my childhood exploring its beautiful forests and its vibrant tide pools with my family. And today I'm raising my daughter in these same very special places. But the delicate ecosystems that we love are threatened, just like so many parts of the world. And I don't need to remind you, all of you sitting in this room, how climate change has such cascading effects on people and planet. We know there is an urgent call for systemic global action to both reduce emissions, improve watershed health, and to protect biodiversity. Climate change, as we know, is one of the defining challenges of our time, and it is particularly critical in Asia, a region that is truly on the front lines of the climate crisis. More than 50 million people in the region have been directly affected by climate disasters, with more than $36 billion in economic damage just in 2022 alone. And if we look specifically at Southeast Asia, sea levels are rising faster than any other part of the world and fall victim to many climate hazards due to a lot of low-lying countries. So unsurprisingly, more than 6 in 10 Singaporeans listed climate change as Southeast Asia's top challenge in 2023, as reported in the Straits Times. And yet, this reality is most countries, they lack the means to detect and then to prevent the most severe climate risks. An Asian Development Bank report indicates that ASEAN requires at least $2.8 trillion of infrastructure financing to sustain economic growth as well as to fight climate change. And so reflecting on today's summit theme, and also recognizing that the race to a net zero future has become a strategic priority on the international agenda. When we talk about an equitable transition, it means ensuring that everyone benefits from a shift to a cleaner economy. And it also means investing in communities most vulnerable to climate change's impacts. So at Google, we often think about these areas and how our work can support the broader ecosystem to move from ambition to action. So I'd like to share some thoughts around really 3 themes that I believe can help us turn these challenges into opportunities: the power of business, technology and AI, and collaboration. So business. Business plays such a critical role in this fight against climate change. And yet, businesses are really facing an inflection point. While there are many unprecedented challenges that are facing us, it's more important than ever for leaders to prioritize building a sustainable company. And really what that means is that we have to balance doing good and doing well, and also integrate sustainability throughout our organizations. And so there is a key to understanding how we do both. Business leaders, what we're finding is they're really at a loss around what to do next. Google Cloud's sustainability survey found that 72% of business leaders state that they want to advance sustainability efforts, but they don't know how to do it. And so this level of uncertainty is unfortunately rising. We saw that it was up 7% from the same survey that we conducted last year. And so for me, I've been a chief sustainability officer for nearly a decade in both the public sector and now in the private sector. And what I've seen is that many different businesses and organizations are approaching sustainability with some key themes. There's well-defined leadership, there's better data and measurement, and also an agile approach. And I really see these as key ingredients to business leaders' ability to drive action towards their goals. So similarly, consumers are growing increasingly aware and want sustainable choices. And in Singapore, we saw that searches for recycling reached a 5-year high in 2022, with people asking Google how to live more sustainably at home and how to shop sustainably. And 85% of executives report in the same Google Cloud survey I mentioned a moment ago that customers are more likely to engage and to do business with sustainable brands. So with this big shift that we're seeing, the question for companies is no longer whether to become more sustainable, but really how fast it can be done. And so just to reflect on our experience at Google, since our founding, our efforts to mitigate climate change have really started with our own operations. And we have worked hard to lead by example with really the ultimate goal of driving a larger systems change, like pushing the boundaries of sustainability in our data centers. So at Google, we began buying clean energy all the way back in 2010. And in 2017, we became the first major company to match 100% of our annual electricity consumption across our global operations with renewable energy purchases. And we've now achieved that every year since. And today, our ambition, it's evolved. And now we have a bold goal that we want to achieve net zero emissions across all our operations and value chain. And as a part of that, we want to run on 24/7 carbon-free energy on every grid where we operate. And so the path to get to these goals, it's hard. This is not going to be easy. Carbon-free energy contracting can be very challenging given local market dynamics and resource availability. And this is certainly the case in the Asia-Pacific region. Transitioning to a carbon-free future will require stronger government policies and partnerships with many organizations. And it's also going to require new technologies and structural changes to the broader system that serves our operations and our value chains and those of other companies, such as electricity grids and hardware supply chains. And so this is why Google advocates for stronger clean energy and climate policies. And we also partner with many organizations to accelerate clean energy and climate progress. So in this region, we became a founding member of an organization called the Asia Clean Energy Coalition. This is a multi-stakeholder initiative to accelerate clean energy in Asia by improving policy and market environments. And we're also very pleased to support the Clean Energy Buyers Association and the Clean Energy Demand Initiative to expand their international efforts through a $1 million grant through our foundation, google.org. So today, we have 80 agreements totaling approximately 10 gigawatts of clean energy capacity. And we estimate spending about $10 billion to purchase clean energy through 2040. And we also really remain focused on the challenges that we face to driving larger systems change and to creating a more sustainable future for everyone. And I'm pleased to see more and more businesses worldwide are recognizing their responsibility as well as their opportunity for climate action and are committed to playing their part. And so it's really important that we share and that we learn from one another. Setting an ambition is absolutely a first step toward making it possible. And so I encourage more companies to join us on this journey. So now let's turn to technology and AI. Given the scale of the challenge that we have at hand, I strongly believe that innovation is key to getting us to a better future. And this leads me to thinking about the role of technology as we look at the recent IPCC report that found that really we already have the data and the tech that we need to mitigate the climate crisis. We just need to put it to use. And we believe that technological innovation is absolutely critical to the transition to a low carbon future. And in fact, what we've seen through research like from the World Economic Forum is that if brought to scale, digital technologies could reduce emissions by 20% by 2050 in 3 of the highest emitting sectors: energy, materials, and mobility. And so we believe that Google has a unique opportunity that extends beyond the management of the environmental impacts of our own operations and value chain. And so our aspiration is that we want to help individuals, cities, and other partners to collectively reduce 1 gigaton of their carbon equivalent emissions annually by 2030. And just to put that into context, a gigaton is comparable to the entire annual emissions of the nation of Japan. And so a key tool in this effort is called the Environmental Insights Explorer. This is a tool that provides actionable climate and sustainability data to more than 42,000 cities and regions worldwide. And it's been used in multiple ways across the globe, including by city leaders in Australia for transportation planning to reduce total emissions, and by the city of Austin in Texas to prioritize planting trees in areas of the highest need. And as more people, businesses, and communities look for new ways to reduce their environmental impact, I truly believe that AI can also be a transformational technology that provides compelling as well as helpful benefits to people and society when developed responsibly. And it can also help accelerate solutions by providing better information to individuals, operational optimization for organizations, and improved prediction and forecasting. We must also continue to find ways to reduce the environmental footprint of AI models. AI-powered tools can help address some of the worst impacts of climate-related disaster, from early warnings of natural disasters to reducing the impact of wildfires. For example, in 2022, we launched Flood Hub, which allows local governments and aid organizations to identify when riverine floods will occur up to 7 days in advance. And we've been able to use this tool to identify in advance who needs to be warned of danger, and no less importantly, where they can go to be safe. And we now work with local governments, including in India, in Bangladesh, and in Sri Lanka, to deliver emergency flood alerts, which are protecting nearly 500 million people living in flooded affected areas. Technology and AI can also be used in cutting emissions in industries and in cities. For instance, developers at companies such as L'Oreal and Etsy are using Google Cloud tools to reduce the emissions associated with their technology footprint. And we work closely with these customers, and we, through that work, developed a tool called Carbon Footprint. It's a freely available tool that provides monthly emissions data on a per service, project, and regional basis to our cloud customers. We are already seeing more and more opportunities, whether for governments, businesses, and nonprofits, to use AI to accelerate their climate work. And I see many possibilities in harnessing technology and deploying it responsibly and effectively to build a sustainable future for everyone. So while we're excited about our progress in developing more sustainable tools and products, climate change is not a challenge that we can address on our own. And this brings me to my third point about the power of collaboration and partnership. There's truly great value and strength when we catalyze and invest in the next generation of climate innovators thinking about the solutions. And these ideas can come from anywhere. And we've seen that change can start with local, tech-driven solutions that then scale to other areas. And our support to the Asian Venture Philanthropy Network to launch a $3 million sustainability seed fund in partnership with Asian Development Bank is a really nice example of this. We launched last year, and the fund aims to support nonprofits in the Asia Pacific that are leveraging technology to tackle sustainability issues. And we're really proud that 13 nonprofit organizations have now been selected. So rather than have me share their projects, let me give you a look into some of these inspiring efforts. Let's watch the video.
Australia is experiencing more frequent and extreme weather events. These changes are impacting water availability for our riverine ecosystems, communities, and industry that rely upon them.
In Indonesian rural areas, stakeholders have developed water systems to address the water scarcity issue. Due to lack of monitoring, these facilities often fail and have a short lifespan.
Marine depletion has become a global phenomenon that threatens not only the marine ecosystem but also impacts climate change.
The battle to fight climate change cannot be achieved by any one organization alone. We want to inspire more collaboration in the region through this fund.
France has developed a fully electric UAV to remove plastic from the harbor and the waterway.
Advancing the sustainable development of rural areas to empower local leaders with access to real-time data, enabling them to make data-driven decisions and anticipate pump malfunctions.
Water Stewardship Asia Pacific aims to develop a highly automated digital platform for the tracking and reporting of water stewardship actions and impacts.
We at the ADB are honored to be a strategic partner to the Sustainability Seed Fund. Digital innovation will help lower the cost of decarbonization technologies, which then helps attract capital which is needed to drive change.
We're seeing amazing work happening across critical topics such as water preservation, protecting biodiversity, decarbonization, and more. The Sustainability Seed Fund will help unlock that potential.
Wow, really amazing work. And there are so many incredible organizations that are building innovative solutions that benefit their communities and beyond. And so we want to support even more organizations as we work towards an equitable and a sustainable future. So I am so proud to announce at this event that we are committing another $5 million to the APAC Sustainability Seed Fund. And in its second phase, the fund will continue to support Asia-based nonprofits that are addressing key challenges such as water preservation, circular economy, air quality, waste management, and more. So you'll hear more about this initiative through my colleague Maria, who will be speaking at a panel discussion later today. So reflecting on our work in sustainability has taught me and many of my colleagues that collaboration has strength and that the power of technology, especially AI, can help to solve many of the challenges that we face. So as I close my remarks here today, I genuinely believe our efforts are part of a larger picture. And I am optimistic that through our combined efforts, we can play a helpful role in building a more sustainable and resilient future. So please enjoy the rest of today's summit, and I look forward to seeing what we can achieve together. Thank you so much.